So I am super excited to talk about this franchise on the channel because this has been a series that I've been wanting to talk about for so long. So I'm happy that I finally have the opportunity today to talk about it. And that series is the Total Drama series. And I only really kept up with Total Drama Island, Total Drama Action, and Total Drama World Tour, mainly because I was just attached to the cast of characters, like the OG characters that we grew up watching from the Total Drama series. Those were the ones that I checked out every single week whenever a new episode was released. And then I know eventually down the line they started introducing a newer cast of characters. Then every so often you got a little cameo from like the OG cast. And I never really had the opportunity to watch those, so I can't really give my thoughts on that. Maybe I'll check it out someday if I have the time to do so. But when it comes to the Total Drama series, I had so much fun watching this series growing up. And what I'm going to be going over when it comes to the Total Drama series in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how I got into the Total Drama series, what my favorite characters are, what my favorite moments are throughout the franchise, and just why overall I love this series so much. So I am super excited to get into this. If you guys have anything you want to say about the Total Drama series, be sure to let me know, as always, in the comment section down below. So getting into the story of how I discovered the Total Drama series, I honestly don't know. Like, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, I really don't know how I started watching this series for the first time. It might have been just one of those commercials, you know, similar to Adventure Time and Regular Show when I made a video on that a little while ago, where I was just seeing commercials for it and then I was like, you know what, I gotta check it out one day. I ended up tuning in and I ended up becoming a fan of that series. So it might have been that, but I just remember when I watched the episode for the very first time, I was like hooked into it because it reminded me of a reality TV show where you have like those other shows out there where you have like a group of contestants, they're competing in all these different kinds of contests, and then they come to a point like later in the episode to see who moves on in the next round and then who goes home. This series overall was pretty much a parody of that. So that's what really got me into the Total Drama series. And I remember every single time when I hung out with my cousins and we went to church when I was a lot younger, and I remember it was like a Thursday night or possibly a Tuesday night. I can't remember, it's been so long. But I remember each and every single time I came home, Total Drama was coming out with a new episode, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get upstairs. Like, I gotta run all the way upstairs to check out the new episode, because I was always very curious to see, like, okay, who's gonna get voted off, who's going to progress on to the next round, what sort of challenge is going to be happening in today's episode. There was just so many things thrown into this series that got me like really excited to see what's going to be happening next. So like that's pretty much like my whole story of how I got into the Total Drama series. It just happened by luck. I happened to see a commercial because I think that's how it was. And actually, yeah, that definitely is how it was. I'm starting to get flashbacks to it now. And from there, I just became a big fan of it. And talking about my favorite characters in the Total Drama series, oh boy, I honestly have to say when it comes to like my all-time favorite character of the Total Drama series, it has to be Owen. Like, I just loved Owen's personality. Like, he was very friendly, you know, he liked making a lot of friends. He was very funny as well when it came to him always getting into food. And then there was the numerous fart jokes, which as a kid, you know, I found those very funny. So that's why I really liked Owen, because he was pretty much that character in the show that you wanted to be friends with, that was somebody that a lot of people loved. Like, I honestly have to think when it comes to a lot of the characters in the Total Drama series, Owen happens to be everyone's favorite. Like, I can't even begin to think if there's like anybody out there that doesn't like Owen. Like, there probably is, but at least from my perspective, I just know a lot of people really like Owen, and that's why Owen's my favorite character. He's just a very lovable character. And I also really liked Izzy. And I just loved Izzy's attitude because she was pretty much all over the place. She was getting into a whole bunch of things. It's almost like she was like best friends with Tarzan, and she just had Tarzan's personality, and she was just getting into a whole bunch of shit. Like, Izzy was just insane. And I never really thought that her and Owen would have been like a good pairing, but they actually had somewhat good chemistry with one another. Like, yes, they have two completely different personalities, but for some reason they clicked and they got along and they ended up going out in the show. I mean, hey, I got my favorite male character and I had my favorite female character hooking up, so that was pretty cool. And I just love Izzy because of that. I have to throw in Gwen as well. I just love how Gwen is like very creative. She was calm, she was collective. I really loved her personality. It was honestly hard for me to really choose like who I really wanted to win in like season 1 when it came to the finale, because it came down to Owen and Gwen, and I believe there was actually an alternate ending where Gwen actually won, so you were able to satisfy both fan bases when it came to Gwen and Owen in the season finale. But I remember that I just had a hard time like watching it, where I was like, oh my god, I really want Gwen to win, but at the same time I really like Owen and I want him to win as well. But I just love Gwen because of that. Like, she's very out there, you know, seeing what happens between her and Heather, seeing what happens between her and Trent, her and Duncan. There's just a lot of things to choose from. Her and Cody, oh my god, don't get me started on that. There's just a lot of things I was about to get into to choose from when it comes to Gwen that makes her a character that really stands out. And I honestly have to say, I also really like Harold as well. And I think the main reason why I like Harold, and I'm pretty sure he was based on this character, because his whole personality is straight to the point. Like, it's an exact copy of this other character from a movie that I happen to be a really big fan of, because it's one of the funniest movies I ever saw in my life, and that happens to be Napoleon Dynamite. I'm pretty sure Harold is based on Napoleon Dynamite, but that's why I like Harold, because he had that personality that was very similar to Napoleon, and he also had the look that was very similar to him as well. And even though Heather was very stuck up, like she was like that typical person who thought she was better than everybody else, I still liked her character, mainly because I was always curious to see what was going to be happening next with her. Like, I was curious to see like, okay, what sort of schemes Heather going to come up with? What is she going to do now to see if she can advance in these rounds? What sort of tricks she was going to pull in order to catch somebody off guard, to have them voted off the island and sent home? So that's the main reason why I loved Heather, because she was so mysterious. Like, I understand that, you know, she was very mean to people, but she was just like a character I was always really curious to see what sort of move she was going to pull next. So that's why I really like her. And if I had to choose one more character, I would probably have to say Duncan as well. I mean, Duncan, he's just pretty cool. Like, he just has that sort of attitude where it's like, okay, I don't really want to mess with this guy. I love his personality. I loved seeing him interact with Gwen. I loved seeing him interact with Courtney. I loved that whole relationship that he had with Harold. Like, he was just a very entertaining character. So he definitely stood out to me as well. But probably like my favorite moments when it comes to the Total Drama franchise, it probably has to be when we had those challenges on Total Drama Island. And I believe there's like one challenge in particular that I definitely remember, which is when I believe Chef was pretty much dressing up as Jason, and then he was like going around the island. He was like kidnapping all these people, and they had to figure out exactly what was going on. That's definitely an episode that stood out to me. And another one would probably have to be like anything in like Total Drama Action when it had to do with movies, because there was always different references to a lot of movies that all of us saw within that part of Total Drama Island, which I believe was like the second season of the Total Drama series. So that was very entertaining. And just overall, like, I probably have to say just the character relationships are my favorite moments, just seeing how each character is going to interact with each other. And probably what I can pull through from these characters when it comes to how I can relate to them, one of them for sure would probably have to be Harold, mainly because of his nerdy side. Not really his personality, but because he's very nerdy, like how I am when it comes to the different things I'm into, like video games or being on the computer all the time, producing content on my channel, and, you know, spending a lot of time on the computer. And also when it comes to the different movies and TV shows that I'm into, wrestling, reading manga and watching anime, you know, all those things in there. That's something I can definitely pull from Harold. I could probably pull Gwen's creativity as well in there, because I'm very creative when it comes to a lot of the ideas that I come up with. And I could also probably throw in like Owen as well, you know, being somebody that you always want to be around, being that person that everybody wants to be friend with because you're just a very nice person overall. So I can pull that from Owen. So those group of characters definitely do describe me as a person when it comes to the different kinds of traits that each and every single one of those characters have. And honestly, like, this show just brings back like a lot of memories. Like I discussed earlier in the video, like I just remember spending so much time watching this franchise. Like, this franchise meant so much to me, like even before regular show and Adventure Time came out, because I don't think those shows existed when Total Drama came out for the very first time. Like when we had Total Drama Island, those two shows weren't a thing. And I think around the time when like Total Drama was wrapping up and they took a little break for a while, and then you eventually had Adventure Time and regular show come out, Total Drama was just a series that I watched all the time. So I just spent countless hours watching each and every single one of those episodes. I even remember like going on my computer and watching a couple of the episodes that were airing on like a different network, because sometimes you got those episodes earlier than the ones that you got here. So I also remember just watching them online. But I just love the whole point that it's just a parody of these reality series that we see on television. Like, I just love how it's its own unique thing, and it's just very entertaining, like seeing how all these different kinds of people interact with each other on an island, seeing how they interact with each other on a set, and then seeing how all of them interact when they're like touring the world when it comes to a Total Drama World Tour. I just love the whole entire feel of the show, and that's what made me become a fan of this series. But overall, I just really love this franchise. So I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Like, how you guys feel about the Total Drama series? Do you like it? Do you guys have any sort of memories with this franchise? Like, what is your favorite version of Total Drama? Did you like Total Drama Island, Total Drama Action, Total Drama World Tour, or the later seasons that came out in the franchise that I didn't really see yet? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts on this series in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Facebook page. All of that is located in the description below. So if you guys want to be updated whenever I upload a new video on the channel, be sure to click on that bell. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.